The sky above the Hamilton estate was a perfect shade of spring blue, interrupted only by the gentle drift of cream-colored balloons floating near the backyard's tent canopy. Beneath them, dozens of guests mingled over tiny finger sandwiches and pink lemonade cocktails, their voices forming a low, happy hum. It was a day of celebration, a baby shower, hosted for Eleanor Grant, a 33-year-old architect-turned-mother-to-be, whose meticulous planning had turned her dream of a serene garden gathering into reality. Well, almost. Eleanor stood near the gift table, one hand protectively brushing against her bump while her other accepted gift after gift: diaper cakes, pastel clothes, embroidered blankets, all wrapped with care and affection. Beside her stood her husband, Miles, grinning like a proud fool every time someone mentioned fatherhood. Nearby, Eleanor's mother adjusted a bouquet, and her co-workers from the firm sipped champagne, chatting about nursery decor and baby names. Then came Evelyn, her older sister. Evelyn always arrived with fanfare, even if no one wanted it. Wearing a plunging silk dress far too dramatic for a daytime garden party, she sauntered up to the gift table with an exaggerated sway and placed a massive pink box in front of Eleanor. "I got you something special," she said loudly, her voice syrupy sweet and clearly meant for everyone to hear. Eleanor glanced at the box. Something about Evelyn's expression made her stomach twist, an all-too-familiar smirk that never led to anything good. But the guests were watching, and the cameras were rolling. So Eleanor smiled politely and began undoing the satin ribbon. The lid came off. A wave of silence preceded the collective gasp. Inside the box sat diapers, but not new ones. Not clean, unused baby supplies like every other gift. No, these were soiled. Wrinkled. Clearly used. Some even bore faint stains that turned Eleanor's stomach. Laughter broke out. Not nervous giggles, but full-blown howls from a few guests who thought it was a joke. Even their mother had to stifle a laugh behind her napkin. Evelyn grinned wider, tossing her platinum blonde curls over her shoulder. "Come on, Elle. It's just a little joke. You can afford the real thing, right? I mean, you're the successful sister." Eleanor stood frozen, hands still on the box, eyes scanning the crowd. She could feel her face flushing, not with embarrassment, but with something deeper: anger, betrayal, grief. This wasn't a harmless prank. This was a calculated strike, carefully designed to wound her while ensuring Evelyn got the laugh. Everyone in the family knew Evelyn's pattern. She was the star in her own mind, and when her world spiraled, when her relationships crashed, when her business schemes collapsed, when her bank account inevitably hit zero, she would lash out. And Eleanor? Eleanor was always the target. The little sister who got ahead. The one with the house, the career, the stable marriage. "You're rich," Evelyn added, sipping from a mimosa she hadn't been offered. "Buy the real stuff yourself." The laughter began to falter. Eleanor set the box down. Not because she was defeated. Because she had something to say. She dusted her hands, straightened her posture, and raised her voice just enough to slice through the murmurs. "You know what's really funny?" she began, her tone cool. "Almost as funny as a box of garbage at my baby shower?" The crowd quieted. She looked directly at Evelyn. "It's funny that 6 months ago, when your house was days away from foreclosure, again, I bought your mortgage to stop you from losing it." Evelyn blinked. "What are you?" Eleanor didn't pause. "And what's hilarious is that I was going to surprise you with a deed transfer this summer. A gift. Because I felt bad for you." Gasps fluttered through the tent. Evelyn's wine glass tilted slightly in her hand. "You're lying." Eleanor reached into her handbag, pulled out her phone, tapped a few times, and held it up. The property record gleamed on the screen, her name, Bolton Official. There was no mistaking it. "I'm not lying," she said, sliding the phone back into her purse. "I owned your house. Past tense. Because after today, I don't feel very generous anymore." The silence was profound. Even the wind had the good sense to go still. Evelyn tried to laugh. It came out brittle. "Don't be dramatic. You're rich. Do the right thing." Eleanor tilted her head. "You mean like embarrassing your pregnant sister in front of everyone she loves?" "It was a joke," Evelyn hissed, but her voice wavered. "And this," Eleanor said, pointing at the used diapers, "wasn't." Their mother stood up abruptly, clearly about to smooth things over. "Honey. Don't," Eleanor warned, holding up a finger. "I have spent my entire life being the bigger person. I co-signed Evelyn's loans. I paid her rent. I covered her failed college attempts. I let her live rent-free in a house she trashed. And this? This is what I get." She gestured toward the box one last time. No one spoke. Evelyn looked like a statue carved out of shame and rage. "You wouldn't really kick me out," she muttered. Eleanor smiled. "You're right. I won't kick you out today." She tapped her watch. "You have 1 week." "Olivia," their mother said sharply, but Eleanor turned to her with a polite smile. "You do have a guest room, don't you, Mom?" The older woman hesitated. "Well, yes, but..." "Perfect. Then Evelyn has somewhere to go." Evelyn's eyes widened. "I'm not living with them again." "Then maybe," Eleanor said, her voice now sweet as sugar, "you shouldn't have handed me a box full of trash in front of everyone." There was no recovery after that. The crowd moved on awkwardly. Conversations resumed in quiet, safer corners of the garden. The catering continued. The champagne flowed. And Evelyn left early. For once, Eleanor didn't follow her. She didn't call to check in. She didn't apologize for making a scene. She stayed in her seat, surrounded by true friends, and unwrapped the remaining gifts. Real gifts. From real people. And for the first time in decades, she didn't feel like she owed anyone anything. Before the diaper stunt, before the public embarrassment, before the mortgage power play, there was simply the story of two sisters. Eleanor and Evelyn. Growing up, it was always clear who the star was. Evelyn, the eldest by 5 years, had been their parents' darling, a blonde, dimple-cheeked firecracker with a flair for drama and an uncanny ability to cry on cue. Every parent-teacher conference was about Evelyn's potential. Every family gathering was centered around Evelyn's latest achievement, no matter how minor. A lead role in a school play. A promising idea for a jewelry business. A boyfriend who might have real money. And then there was Eleanor. Quiet. Focused. Driven. While Evelyn basked in the glow of attention, Eleanor became the shadow. Her accomplishments were often noticed only as a comparison point. "Why can't you lighten up like Evelyn?" their mother would ask. "Your sister just knows how to enjoy life." Eleanor did know how to enjoy life. She just knew how to be responsible first. By age 14, she was balancing school with a part-time job at the local bookstore. She saved for college. She researched scholarships. She helped her mom cook and kept the house running when Evelyn vanished for weekends with questionable boyfriends. It wasn't bitterness. Not then. It was survival. Eleanor had seen early what Evelyn either couldn't or wouldn't. The world didn't hand you anything. You had to build your own foundation, brick by brick, and sometimes while someone else tried to steal your cement. Evelyn's first fall came at 21. She dropped out of college after just 1 semester, blaming a toxic professor who didn't respect her creativity. Then came the boutique she opened with money borrowed from their parents. It failed within a year. The lease went unpaid. The inventory vanished. Their father quietly paid off the remaining debts to avoid embarrassment. By the time Eleanor graduated magna cum laude from her architectural program, Evelyn had burned through 3 jobs, 2 relationships, and a small inheritance from their grandmother. But at every family dinner, Evelyn still dominated the conversation. "And what's Eleanor up to?" someone would ask politely. "Oh, you know her," Evelyn would answer with a laugh. "Always working. She'll probably design a building named after herself someday." Everyone laughed. Eleanor smiled. She didn't say, "I'm managing 2 major projects and leading my firm's sustainability initiative." She didn't say, "I just bought my first home and paid it off in 2 years." She didn't say, "I'm exhausted from being the backup plan while Evelyn crashes through her 5th new beginning." She kept quiet. Because if she spoke up, she'd be called cold. Or arrogant. Or, worst of all, ungrateful. The tipping point had come years before the baby shower. Evelyn was between jobs, again, and living in a downtown loft she could barely afford. She called Eleanor in tears, claiming she was a week away from the streets. She'd maxed out her cards, her boyfriend had left, and she hadn't made rent in 2 months. "I just need a little help," she sobbed over the phone. "I swear I'll pay you back." Eleanor co-signed a loan. Not because she trusted Evelyn to pay it, but because their parents begged her to. "You're doing well, sweetie," her mother had said. "She just needs a hand." A hand became a crutch. That crutch became a ladder. And soon, Evelyn was living rent-free in a home Eleanor secretly owned, after she stepped in to buy out the mortgage Evelyn had nearly defaulted on. It was never announced, never flaunted. Eleanor didn't want to embarrass her. She just wanted to help. But Evelyn never even said thank you. Instead, she mocked Eleanor's stable life. "Must be boring," she'd say, sipping from a wine glass Eleanor had probably paid for. Going to bed early, checking your budget, sticking to the rules. You've really become practical. And Eleanor had smiled. Again. But under the surface, resentment was building. Quietly, steadily. Like water behind a dam. There were good moments, of course. When Evelyn remembered Eleanor's birthday. When she complimented her outfit. When she called her my brilliant baby sister in front of their extended family. But the compliments always had strings. Or shadows. You look great in that dress, especially now that you've filled out a little. You're so smart, Eleanor. Too bad you never learned to have fun. Can you believe she used to be the quiet one? I totally shaped who she is. Eleanor began to realize that the love Evelyn offered wasn't unconditional. It was strategic. And when that strategy failed, when she couldn't extract money, sympathy, or attention, Evelyn turned nasty. You think you're better than me, she'd hiss in late-night arguments. Because you worked your way up? You just got lucky. You found the right man. You have the right job. But it wasn't luck. It was choices. Hard ones. Sacrifices Evelyn had never had the discipline to make. When Eleanor became pregnant, Evelyn's jealousy reached new heights. At first, she feigned excitement. You're going to be such a cute mom, she gushed, tagging Eleanor in Instagram posts and sending baby name ideas. But when Eleanor announced her paid maternity leave, Evelyn snapped. God, must be nice, she muttered. Getting paid to sit at home. Some of us actually have to work. You're not working, Evelyn, Eleanor said quietly. You haven't in months. The tension simmered. Until the baby shower. Until the box of used diapers. Until Eleanor finally, reached her breaking point. Sitting alone in her nursery that night, Eleanor stared at the half-assembled crib. Pink and gold paint swirled on the walls. A mobile of soft animals hung above a rocking chair. For the first time, the room felt like hers. Free of Evelyn. Free of obligation. Free of years of misplaced guilt. She wasn't just cutting her sister off. She was reclaiming her life. The calls began before dawn. Eleanor's phone vibrated on her nightstand with a frantic rhythm, its glow flashing across the nursery ceiling like a silent alarm. She didn't answer. The baby hadn't even arrived yet, but already she understood something all parents learn. Sometimes, the best response is silence. By breakfast, her voicemail was full. Mom, Eleanor, we need to talk. Evelyn, is devastated. That little announcement at the party? Was that really necessary? Dad, call me. This has gone too far. Evelyn, seriously? You're actually going to make your pregnant sister homeless? Over a prank? You've changed. Eleanor sat at the kitchen table, coffee growing cold, reading through the stream of messages like they were articles in a tabloid, outrageous, dramatic, and only loosely based in reality. Her husband Miles leaned over her shoulder, raising an eyebrow. Wow, he said, scrolling through a particularly unhinged text from Evelyn that included 6 crying emojis and 1 veiled threat. Your sister really has no concept of self-awareness. Eleanor sipped her coffee. Nope. Do you want to respond? Nope. He kissed the top of her head. Proud of you. That afternoon, Eleanor's mother showed up. No warning. No invitation. She let herself in like she still had the right. Eleanor, she sighed, as if her daughter had personally caused a national disaster. We need to talk. Eleanor leaned against the doorframe, arms folded. You could have called. I did. You didn't answer. Exactly. Her mother brushed past her, plopping down on the couch like she'd been inconvenienced. Evelyn, is a mess. She hasn't stopped crying since the party. You humiliated her. I gave her what she gave me, Eleanor replied calmly. Oh, don't be petty. She didn't mean it. She brought a box of used diapers to my baby shower, Mother. She was joking. No, she was retaliating. You just don't want to admit it. Her mother flinched. Then, adjusting her scarf, she tried a different angle. She's your sister. You don't throw away family over one bad decision. One? Eleanor laughed, dry and bitter. How about 20? How about years of manipulating me, mooching off me, mocking me? How about every time she made a mess and expected me to clean it up? She's struggling. And whose fault is that? Eleanor snapped. She had chances. Jobs. Loans. A literal house. And she blew through all of them because she knew you and I would be there to catch her. Her mother's mouth pressed into a tight line. You didn't worry when Amanda was staring me down, Eleanor continued, quieter now. You only worry now because you can't ignore it anymore. Silence. Then, a last attempt. Just give her a little more time. A month. Let her stay until she figures it out. Eleanor smiled sweetly and grabbed her phone. Sure. Her mother blinked. Really? Eleanor opened her banking app, pulled up a payment history, and held it up. She still owes me $3,000 from last year. Tell her she can stay if she pays me back. Her mother's face darkened. You know she can't. Then she can't stay. You're being heartless. No, Eleanor said, her voice cold and steady. I'm just done. Her mother left without saying goodbye. That night, Evelyn made her grand entrance. She didn't knock like a sister in need. She banged like a debt collector. When Eleanor opened the door, Evelyn burst inside, carrying a leopard print suitcase and a storm of indignation. What the hell is wrong with you? Eleanor calmly closed the door behind her. Hi. You're actually going through with this? You're making me homeless? Over a joke? Call it what you want, Eleanor said, arms crossed. You're not my problem anymore. Evelyn's laugh was manic, breathless. You're rich. You have a giant house. What's the big deal? Do you hear yourself? Eleanor asked. Do you even understand what you're saying? I'm not asking for much. Just a little help. I'd do the same for you. That broke Eleanor's composure. She laughed, genuinely. When have you ever helped me? Evelyn's mouth opened, then closed. Eleanor stepped closer. Did you help when I was drowning in student loans? Working 2 jobs to pay for grad school? When I skipped meals just to stay afloat? No. You were too busy drinking wine and shopping online with credit cards I co-signed. Evelyn tried again. Please. I'm begging. For a moment, Eleanor felt the old tug, sympathy, the big sister guilt, the part of her that had always tried to fix things. But then she remembered the diaper box. The smirk. The laughter. No, she said softly. Good luck, Evelyn. She opened the door. You're really doing this? Evelyn said, voice cracking. You have 6 days. Make them count. Evelyn stomped past her. At the doorway, she turned. You're being unfair. Eleanor smiled. And you're homeless. The door closed with a soft, satisfying click. For the next week, Evelyn rotated through her playbook. Guilt. Apologies. Rage. Lies. Texts flooded in. Evelyn, how do you sleep at night? Evelyn, I was just being funny. You used to be fun. Evelyn, fine. You want a war? You've got one. Eleanor ignored them all. Until her phone buzzed again. This time from a cousin. Hey. Did you really evict your sister just for laughs? Eleanor blinked. Ah. The smear campaign had begun. At first, it was subtle. Cousin Heather canceled brunch last minute. Uncle Mark, usually full of dad jokes and unsolicited stock tips, was oddly silent in the family group chat. And then there was the distant but polite "hope you're okay" message from Aunt Karen, code for "we heard something dramatic but aren't sure if we should believe it." Eleanor didn't have to guess what was happening. Evelyn was spinning her version of events. And this time, she wasn't just playing the poor, misunderstood sister, she was casting Eleanor as the cold, calculating villain. The sister who threw a pregnant woman to the curb. The one who bought her sister's house just to evict her for laughs. Classic Evelyn. Master of selective memory. Eleanor sighed as she scrolled through Facebook and saw it. One of Evelyn's friends had posted a vague status. Some people have money but no heart. Just saying. The comments were already rolling in. If my sister did that to me, I'd never speak to her again. Family is supposed to help. Sounds like jealousy masked as success. Eleanor's stomach twisted. Not from guilt, she'd buried that months ago, but from exhaustion. The sheer, unrelenting effort it took to protect herself from someone who weaponized emotions like grenades. That evening, over dinner, Eleanor showed the posts to Miles. She's trying to destroy me publicly now. Miles didn't even flinch. He was spooning mashed potatoes onto his plate like they were ammunition. Then fight back, he said. With facts. Eleanor hesitated. It feels petty. It's not petty, Miles replied. It's self-defense. She humiliated you in front of your entire support system. Now she's trying to make you the villain in a story where you were always the hero. Correct the narrative. He was right. So Eleanor did. She started small. A comment here. A DM there. To Heather. Hey, I saw you canceled brunch. Just wanted to clear something up. Evelyn didn't get evicted for no reason. She hadn't paid her mortgage in months. I bought her house to stop foreclosure. She still did nothing. To Aunt Karen. I didn't throw her out for fun. I told her she had a week to find somewhere else after she humiliated me at my baby shower in front of 40 people with a box of used diapers. Then she posted her own quiet statement. No names. Just truth. Setting boundaries with family is the hardest thing I've ever done. But I refuse to keep sacrificing my peace to protect someone who never protected me. Helping doesn't mean enabling. Love doesn't mean being a doormat. The support rolled in. Old friends messaged her. I remember what Evelyn put you through in college. You're doing the right thing. Finally, someone said it. And the tide began to turn. The same people who had hesitated to pick sides started seeing Evelyn clearly for the first time, not as a misunderstood victim, but as a grown woman with a track record of chaos and no accountability. Evelyn, of course, didn't take it well. By day 3, she was calling their mother in hysterics. She's turning everyone against me. Their mother, still unsure whose side to fully land on, relayed the conversation during another uninvited visit. She's miserable, she told Eleanor. She says she feels like she's being punished. She is, Eleanor said flatly. For the first time in her life. Their mom frowned. She says she's trying. To do what? Eleanor asked. Stay in a house she doesn't pay for? Manipulate everyone until I cave? She says you're ruining her life. Eleanor leaned back in her chair. Mom, Evelyn ruined her own life. I just stopped cleaning up the mess. There was a pause. Then, quietly, their mother whispered, I just don't want to see her suffer. Eleanor stood, gathering the empty tea mugs. Funny. No one ever worried about my suffering. And for once, her mother didn't argue. The next week brought Evelyn's most desperate move yet. A suitcase. A midnight knock. And a sobbing plea. Please, Eleanor. I have nowhere else to go. Eleanor opened the door slowly, standing in her robe, arms folded. Didn't Mom offer you the guest room? Evelyn's makeup was smeared, her voice raw. I can't live with them. They have rules. They expect me to clean. They told me I need to get a job. Eleanor bit back a laugh. Imagine that. I'm serious. I can't do it. I'll go crazy. And what exactly would be different if you stayed here? Eleanor asked. Evelyn sniffled. I'll pay you back. I'll get a job. I'll contribute. Eleanor held up a hand. Stop. Evelyn froze. I don't trust you, Eleanor said, her voice firm. You've promised before. You always promise. And then you disappear. Or you laugh in my face. Like you did with the diapers. That was a joke, Evelyn said automatically. No, Eleanor corrected. That was cruelty. And I'm not letting you live here just so I can spend the next few months fighting to get you out. Tears slid down Evelyn's cheeks. Please. I'm done, Eleanor whispered. I'm not your net anymore. Evelyn's voice turned sharp. You're really turning me away? Yes. Fine, she spat, grabbing her suitcase. But when you need help, don't come crawling to me. Eleanor didn't flinch. When have you ever helped me, Evelyn? Silence. She left without another word. The next day, Eleanor woke up to peace. No calls. No texts. No new lies. Just sunshine on her windowsill and the sound of Miles humming in the kitchen. She poured herself a cup of tea, settled into the nursery's rocking chair, and took a deep breath. For the first time in years, her life was hers. The war of perception was over. And she had won. 3 months passed. The nursery was complete, pale green walls with golden stenciled stars, a white crib under the window, and a bookshelf already half filled with children's classics and notes from friends. Life had settled into a peaceful rhythm. Eleanor spent her mornings walking in the neighborhood, afternoons organizing baby supplies, and evenings nestled beside Miles, planning for the future instead of recovering from the past. And Evelyn? She had vanished. No texts. No calls. No dramatic doorstep confrontations. Eleanor had almost convinced herself it was over. Until the message came. Evelyn, text. Hey sis. I miss you. How's the baby? Eleanor stared at her phone, thumb hovering. It was a bright Saturday morning. The sunlight spilled over the kitchen counter like warm honey. Miles was making pancakes and humming off key to the radio. Everything was right. And then that one message chipped the air. She didn't respond. Not out of anger, but out of understanding. She had finally learned that not every question deserved an answer. But Evelyn wasn't done. An hour later, another text. Evelyn. I've been thinking a lot. I know I messed up. I want to make it up to you. Can we meet? Eleanor showed the screen to Miles, who raised an eyebrow. She wants something, he said, flipping a pancake. Eleanor nodded. Always. She put the phone down, choosing peace. Until the third message arrived. Evelyn. So I was wondering if I could stay with you. Just for a bit. Until I get back on my feet. I promise I'll be better this time. And there it was. Not an apology. Not true accountability. Just another request, wrapped in vague promises and sweetened manipulation. As if nothing had happened. As if Eleanor hadn't spent years propping her up. As if the baby shower humiliation had been a hiccup instead of a final straw. Eleanor didn't feel angry. She felt amazed, at the audacity. She took a deep breath, sat down with her tea, and typed slowly. Eleanor, text. Evelyn, you burned that bridge. You didn't just use me for years, you mocked me, humiliated me, and when I said enough, you made me the villain. Now, months later, you only reach out because no one else will help you. That's not reconciliation. That's desperation. I'm not your safety net anymore. Find another one. She watched the message get delivered. Watched the typing. Bubble flicker on and off. And then she blocked the number. Done. For good. The next week brought a calm Eleanor hadn't known in years. No more checking her phone out of dread. No more tiptoeing around family drama. No more wondering if she'd be guilt-tripped at dinner or blamed for boundaries. Instead, she got a call from her friend Nadine, who dropped off organic baby clothes and a tiny hand-knit cap. She got check-ins from coworkers. She got space to breathe. Eleanor had expected some backlash from family. But oddly enough, it never came. Even her mother, who had once championed Evelyn's excuses, remained silent. Eleanor suspected she finally realized the gravity of what she'd allowed, and what Eleanor had endured. As her due date approached, Eleanor stood in the nursery, resting a hand on her belly. She wasn't just preparing for motherhood, she was building a new legacy. One where love was mutual. One where kindness wasn't currency. One where no one was allowed to break her down and call it family. Evelyn might spin her tales, but the truth was undeniable. And Eleanor didn't need to defend it anymore. Her life, her peace, and her boundaries spoke for themselves. The cycle had been broken. The day the baby arrived, everything faded. All the old hurt, all the manipulation, all the echoing lies, it disappeared in the sound of a newborn's first cry. Miles wept beside her, and Eleanor held her daughter like she was holding a new universe in her arms. No drama. No guilt. Just love. Pure. Earned. Real. In the following months, Eleanor never heard from Evelyn again, not directly. Occasionally, a distant cousin would mention her. Someone said Evelyn was bouncing between friends' couches. That she had started another business that wasn't going anywhere. That she was still blaming everyone but herself. But Eleanor didn't react. She didn't gloat. She didn't reach out. She had learned her lesson: you can't save someone who enjoys the fall more than the climb. And you shouldn't have to. On her daughter's 6-month birthday, Eleanor threw a small gathering in the backyard. Close friends. Supportive family. Balloons in soft hues. Laughter without venom. As she rocked her baby in the same chair where she once sat, alone and broken, she smiled. She had a new life now. And the only thing missing wasn't missed at all.